So it goes without saying that housing right now in the U.S. is pretty expensive. The cost of living is high, and a lot of places, prices with other goods have gone up. And so it's important for people who are being financially prudent to try to figure out where a good place to be uh, to live in the U.S. where their money might be able to go a little bit farther than other places as far as housing goes. And so I created this simple Streamlit web app, which doesn't have a ton of code to it, but it is quite compact and delivers some pretty powerful functionality as far as filtering out places and trying to locate what's a good place to live. So where did my data come from? Well, my data came from Zillow's API that you can actually download a couple data sets from their website. And I downloaded some data that where the most recent month was October of 2023. In that data set, I was able to get state, county, and prices for homes and within that county. I did have to do some data cleaning, and you'll see a little bit later on. I'll show the link to where I did my data cleaning in my Kaggle notebook. But I was able to join the Zillow data with another table and interjoin the two of those together. And that other data set came from the U.S. Government census, and that data is accurate insofar as it goes for 2022. So I have housing data up to October 2023. That's the data that I'm using, and I have population data of 2022 for each county. Okay, so now to actually get into the functionality of the app. So as you can see, you can filter by state, county, price range, minimum, maximum, and population range, minimum, maximum. These are sliders, so you can drag them as much as you need to, be able to set the max and the min. You can also, and the ranges come from, that's the smallest price that I have in my data set, and I guess this was the largest. And the same goes for the population, smallest, largest. So I'm going to choose to filter by 101,000 up to, let's just do like 1.3 million. And population can be, let's try to get at least 100,000, and let's try to keep it below, or is that 1 million? Yeah, that's 1 million. So let's go from 110,000 to roughly 2 million. So if you press the search button, what gets returned to you on the page is what's known as a Streamlit data frame, which is basically a Pandas version of, which is basically a Pandas data frame. And obviously, for those who are not familiar with a data frame is basically a table like an Excel spreadsheet with rows and columns. So this table has county, state, price, and population. It's sorted in ascending order from lowest price to the highest price. And it shows, and the nice thing about this is that you get to see what areas are not only cheap, but also that have some population to them. So if you wanted an area that, so you could have a good balance of an area that is that's not super expensive, but also somewhat more densely populated. So that way you avoid so that way you can filter out certain areas that are, very cheap, but maybe are more so sparsely populated. A nice thing about Streamlit also is that they let you download the table as a CSV file, so you can export that into whatever program from there that you want to use that. You could even download as a CSV and do even more data manipulations off of my data. You can also put this in full screen mode. And I haven't demonstrated the filtering the states, so let's do that. So you can select multiple states like New Jersey, New York. Let's go with Wyoming. And you can also clear your filters as well. They're in alphabetical order, so Colorado, Hawaii, and Louisiana. And you can also filter counties. So these counties are in alphabetical order, and they will only show the counties for those states. You have to be careful though, because some counties, like if you had no state filter, some counties like Cook County, for example, will show up in multiple states. So you just because you filter by one county, you want to make sure that you're looking at both state and county in your data set, so that you're not accidentally thinking of looking at Cook County in Illinois, whereas you're looking at Cook County in another state. So I'm not going to filter by any counties. I'm just going to filter by state. And then what gets returned, no surprise, let's see, Yeah, Louisiana Louisiana is pretty cheap compared to Colorado and Hawaii. As we'll see in a little bit, Hawaii is actually the most expensive state in the United States as far as average home price. Um, so that's the home page, which is basically just filtering and rendering out this data table. On the sidebar, if we go over to visualizations, we can see here a couple of Tableau visualizations. We've got what's known as a choropleth map, basically a heat map, and we've got a bar graph. And in here we have, it's hard to distinguish because generally speaking, like all the houses, because there's such a wide range, all the counties have houses prices that are not super distinct from one another. So because of such a wide range, you don't get a ton of variety in the color. So that's why a lot of the counties look like they are the same color, like a lightish green color. But if you scroll over to a county like Teton County, which is pretty expensive, you'll get a darker green color. But you can hover over each county with the tooltip, and the tooltip will show you the county name, price, and population. And here's our little legend here that will show like the more expensive it is, the darker in green it'll be. You can also look at this bar graph here and choose how many states you want to display. So this is sorted in ascending order by cheapest price to most expensive, with a default of 25 states. So if you slide this over, you can get more or less. So you could get, let's say, the top 10 cheapest states. But if you want to see all the states, you drag the bar or the slider all the way over, and as you can see here, Hawaii is indeed the most expensive state. You can filter, so by default it's filtering cheapest to most expensive. You can filter it by, or sort by alphabetical order for states. You can also sort it by most expensive to cheapest. So Kansas, Missouri, those happen to be the cheapest states, and Hawaii and Massachusetts happen to be the most expensive states. So as far as functionality goes, that's pretty much it for the program. Like I said, it's very functional, incredibly useful if you pair this with something like doing manually searching of homes or various areas on Zillow, exploring places to live. And the code here can be found at my GitHub. So the actual code, so this is the code for the home page, which, like I said earlier, I mean, pretty lightweight for less than 50 lines of code to get everything on the home page like this. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, Streamlit is very good. It does have its limitations, but it's very good at making very simple interfaces and trying to remove as much of that burden from the data scientists or the data analysts as much as possible. And our second page was our visualizations page, which is basically just taking the Tableau. Tableau lets you copy and paste the code, the JavaScript code of their visualizations, and if you just put that in this HTML function here that Streamlit lets you use, it will render out your HTML code onto the page. So that's the actual kind of nuts and bolts of the code, and this is my repository, and these are the links where you can find where my data was retrieved from. So the U.S. government census for the population data, and then the home prices and county and all the rest can be found at Zillow's API. And obviously, like I said, the joining of the two is what led to the result of the table with both population, county, state, and price. And I did some data cleaning ahead of time, so the data set that my program is actually using, which can be found again in this repository in the data folder, I had to do some cleaning of the data in a Kaggle notebook before putting it into Streamlit, just to make it nice and clean and able to be filtered very easily. So that about does it, and hopefully you'll be able to use this to your advantage and try to find a desirable location for you to live in.